Ladles and jelly spoons, welcome back to Badgerworks. Today, this. It doesn't fit under the camera. Yes, this is our Tamiya 1/48 scale A-10A Thunderbolt II. And last time you saw me put this together and do all the lights and the wiring and everything. And today we're going to try and make it look like a police car. So let's get on with it. So before I get started, I just wanted to mention something which I don't really want to, but I'm under orders. It's kind of interesting actually, because it's something that I thought was only me, but apparently it happens to everybody. There's the matter of subscriptions. Obviously I get analytics from YouTube and whatnot, and one of the things that I found interesting is the number of people watching these videos compared to the number of people who are subscribed. And it fluctuates slightly, but most of it is about 75% of people watching these videos are not subscribed. So if you are one of those people, I would greatly appreciate it if you could like, comment, subscribe, as James May puts it so eloquently. Anyway, that's enough of that. I have done my bit now, and hopefully that will keep the management happy. But getting back to this, so since the last video I've done a bit more assembly on it. I've basically finished off the assembly more or less within reason, and I've given the whole thing a coat of grey primer. As you can see, it's actually this high coat grey primer. It's car paint. It's really good stuff actually. So that's just basically to unify everything, and also so I could see what needed sanding and filling, which was lots. There is a lot of filler in this model. So that's that done. So the kind of problem we've got is I want this thing to be white, obviously, because it's a police vehicle, or it will be. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to go for another rattle can, which is this, also high coat. This is their white primer. So I'm going to give it a couple of coats of this, and then we will move on from there and start putting some other finishes and things on it. So I will go away and give this a few coats of white primer, and then we'll move on from there, because there's a few other things I want to do to it as well. Okay, so there we go. That's had a coat of the white primer, and it doesn't look too bad at all, does it? So what I'm going to do now is something that I've done a lot on models before. You've seen me do it, and that's the process of mottling. And what that means is filling in all of the panels with a slightly darker colour, and just doing random patterns to basically break up the colour and make it less uniform. So I'm going to use this Royal Light Grey XF80, and we'll go over this, and I'll show you how it works. Now you'll notice that I'm using a different airbrush to the one I normally use. This is a Badger Sotar 2020, and the reason I'm using this for this is because it's a brush that I've had for some time, and honestly I've struggled to get to grips with it, and so I thought this would be the ideal opportunity to have a practice with it. But it seems that the trick with this brush is you need to have the paint mix really thin and the pressure really low. So I've currently got the pressure at about 7 psi on the regulator, and the paint mix is absurdly thin. It's like 90% thinner. I'm still kind of struggling to get it to come out. But the idea basically is to just create these random patterns of blotches and swirls, which I'm not doing very well at the moment, to break up the outline, to break up the colour and make it less kind of monochromatic. So, and the nice thing about doing it with this now is the fact that if I make a mistake, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to cover all this up anyway. So it's a good opportunity to practice with this brush and try and get to grips with it a bit more. It's a nice brush. I just got to figure out how to work the thing. Oh, I think I'm getting the hang of this now, he says. But like I say, the trick is to get as close to the lines as you can, but stay inside them, and that way you basically, rather than like shading the panel lines, you shade the panels themselves. Right, so there you go. That gives you an idea of what I'm doing anyway. So I'm now going to do all of the rest of this, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. Right, well that was fun. That took about 7, 8, 9 hours. Hang on. There's the underside of it. Over the course of a couple of days. So, but there we go. It's all done now. And now the fun bit, I've got to spray all over the top of it. So I've got some XF2 flat white, and I'm going to thin it down fairly a lot, and just mist it over the whole thing and blend everything together. So that's next. Right, so this has had a couple of coats of the thinned down white mix on it, and I'm hoping you can see kind of what I've been trying to achieve. It actually looks a lot more pronounced on the camera than it does in real life, but basically what it is just giving it a bit of a going over with the white, and it just blends in the grey, and it just removes that kind of monochromatic element, because obviously if this is just all white, it looks like it just looks weird. So, but yeah, so hopefully you can see what I've done, and obviously the underside as well. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mask it, because I want to spray all of this here, and I'm going to go down the nose as well with this XF85 rubber black, and there's a few other bits that I need to do black as well, so I'll do all of them at the same time, like the wheels and bits and pieces like that. So that's next. Right, I'm just going to mask this up, and I just wanted to I don't normally show masking because frankly it's not particularly interesting, but I just wanted to show you this tape. This is 3M vinyl tape. You can get it on Amazon, places like that. And it's great for this kind of thing, because like here, because I'm going to mask down this line, because there's a curve to it, and it's actually a compound curve because it curves that way and that way. This tape is quite flexible, so you can bend it to follow the curve. I'll show you if I can find the end of it. Stop laughing at the back. So what I'm doing is I want to paint this part black, and what I also want to do is extend it down the front here as like an anti-glare thing. Now I know that A10s don't normally have that, but I think because this one's white it would probably be quite sensible. But anyway, so this tape, as I say, is I'm just going to put it on here, and they say if I go in a straight line you can see it's nowhere near, but with this I can just basically just follow that line around, and then I want to come down this panel line like so. And now I think you can see how that curve runs. And I mean, you could probably do that with normal masking tape, but this stuff is really good for it, and it sticks really well as well, and it doesn't leave any residue. So I'll mask up the rest of this and then put some paint on it. Right, let's give this a going over. Right, so that's the first coat of black done, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mottle this the same as I did before and then go over it again. Right, I might as well do all these wheels and everything as well while I'm at it. I'll show you a trick for painting wheels that you may have seen before, but if you haven't, you'll wonder how you ever managed to paint wheels without it. And we also need to do the canopy. It's going to give it a kind of a stormtrooper look, but I actually quite like that. So this is the hinge for the canopy, so this gets done as well. And last but not least, this is the heads-up display. Right, now we can start putting some of this together. Right, so it's time to paint the wheels. I've painted the tyres already, matte black. I'll show you a little trick. I've showed you this before, but it certainly never hurts to go over it again. Basically, just paint the whole wheel the tyre colour, and then get yourself one of these. This is a circle template. You can get these on Amazon or from art shops or stationery suppliers, anywhere like that. And it has a series of holes in it, as you can see, that are graduated, in this case, from 1mm up to 30mm. And what you can do is you take your wheel and you find the appropriate hole, which in this case is 11.5mm. So stick that in the hole like that. Stop laughing at the back. And then take your airbrush and just like that, and there you go, one perfectly painted wheel. And it saves all that masking and messing about and brush painting, all the rest of it. So yeah, get yourself a circle template. And while we're on the subject of wheels, these parts here, which I don't know whether you can see those, but they go on the backs, on the inside of the wheels, and I want to paint those silver. So I've given them a coat of gloss black primer, and I'm going to paint them with this all clad airframe aluminium. These lacquers are great. Not bad, is it? And while I'm at it, I'm going to do this This is the pilot's step, so I'm going to do that as well. Like that. When this one dries, it will need a bit more doing to the top of it and to the actual steps, but I'll do that in a minute. Okay, so let's get these wheels put on. That's one. Oh, that's two. And then the front wheel. I apologise if you can't see this front wheel going on, but this thing is really far too big to go under the camera. So there we go. Right, now we'll give that a chance to set up properly, and then hopefully we can stand the thing on its wheels. Right, now the wheels are dry. Let's see if this thing will actually sit on its undercarriage properly without tipping over backwards. Which it does, quite easily. Yeah, that's plenty nose heavy. So I think the next thing we need to do is varnish. So we'll give it a coat of this X22 clear just to seal everything, and then we can start thinking about putting some decals on this thing. Right, so it's had a couple of coats of the gloss clear now, so I'll leave this to set up properly, and then we can start thinking about putting some decals on it, which is going to be fun. Right, decal time. I'm going to put the police markings on first, and then I'm going to put the kit stencils on afterwards, because a lot of them will have to go over the top of the police ones, so I think it makes more sense, especially the ones around the cockpit. So I'm going to start by, I'm going to kind of replicate the kit scheme, but just using these instead of the nation ones and whatnot. So I'm going to take one of these and put it here on the wing, and I'll put one on the underside on the other wing, and I'm also going to put some on the engines and things like that. So let's start off with one of these. This is our Mr. Mark setter as usual. And I think I will put that right about there. Ugh. Like that. I'm trying to keep this under the camera, and it's not easy because it's such a big model. I think I might actually put that a bit nearer. Move that in a little bit towards the middle of the wing, if I can. Yeah, more like that, that's better. Right, that's the first one. Alright, we'll put one on the side of the engine, like that. There we go. And I'll do the same on the other side. But I think what I want to try and do now is, oh, if I can get this where you can see it, I want to try and put one of the big ones along the side here. That's going to be the real fun. I'm not even sure how I'm going to do it. It'll be fine. See, I'm not sure whether to use these wider ones or these more narrow ones. I can't decide. Because there's kind of pros and cons to each, and I can't decide which one to use. Because I like these wider ones. I think they're probably more kind of, because if you look at a police car, like a modern police car, they tend to have the reflective markings pretty much covering the entire side of the vehicle. So I think I'll use the bigger ones. Let me cut one of these out and we'll try and put it on and see what it looks like. Right, I think, yeah, these wider ones are going to be better. And what I'm going to do, or try to do, is I'm going to try and cut this in, feather it in around the edge of the wing so that it runs in a straight line and goes all the way back to where the engine is. So let me, I'm also going to cut away where these bits are as well. I've left the door in. This is the door that covers the pilot step, and I've just put that in the hole. Stop laughing at the back. Just temporarily, because obviously, even though it's going to be open on the finished model, it would still have the transfers on it for when it's shut. So I'll try and put this on over that, and then I can cut it out, and then when I leave it open, it will still have the transfers on it. So let me measure this up and cut it out, and then we'll put it on. Okay, so I made a stencil with some masking tape and used that to transfer it onto the decal itself, and I don't think that looks too bad. So the next thing, which is going to be fun, is trying to put this thing on. The main problem I have is how I'm going to soak the decal, because it's far too big to fit in my normal decal wetting pot, but I'll figure it out. Right, let's see if I can get this in place. Alright, this is probably going to be a bad idea, but I can't think of any other way to do it. Right, get on there, you. Oh, this is one of these situations where this paper being quite thick is actually quite handy, because I'm going to have to get rather brutal with this to get it in place. Right, I'm going to have to move the camera because I can't do it like this. I'll try it with the overhead camera and see how that works. This would have been a lot easier to do before the engines went on, but that's not really possible. Okay. Oh. This model is just far too big. Right, well, we're definitely getting there. Right, let me have a little fiddle with this and get it into place properly, and then we'll see what it looks like. Whew, that was fun. Well, that's just taken well over an hour to get, to get that in place. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. It's one of those things that because the decal, the actual film is quite thick, in some respects that helps because it means you can be quite rough with it when you're moving it about. But on the other hand, because it's so thick, it's difficult to get it to settle where you want it. And it's also quite difficult to cut because it's more like a plastic film. But yeah, it's okay. So now I've got to do the other side, which hopefully should be easy because it doesn't have all this stuff here. So I'll do that, and I can use the same template that I used for this side to cut this over the wing. I can do the same on the other side. So I'll put that on, and then we'll start putting the actual kit stencils on, like the ejector seat markings and all that kind of stuff. So, onwards. Well, we're getting there, slowly but surely. I've got the police decals on. The top of this wing, the bottom of that wing, the sides and the engines. I might put some more on, I'm not sure yet. What I'm currently doing is just working my way basically down one side. I've done the tops of the wings, and now I'm going to start on the top of the fuselage and the tail. But it's all these little tiny, the little stencils and things, they're the annoying things, because it's just trying to get them all lined up. But yeah, we'll keep going and see what happens. Right, after much wailing and gnashing of teeth, the decals are done. So I'll try and show you what I can. I did put a little police one on the front as well, because they normally have one on the bonnet, so I thought it would be a good idea. I've also put one, a little Union Jack on the inside of the door there. And the reason I've done that is I've noticed when looking at a lot of the reference pictures, quite a few of these aircraft have some kind, they don't have nose art as such. I mean, they have, some of them have like the teeth and whatnot, but what they tend to do is they have a little bit of artwork on the inside of the door, which I thought was actually a really nice idea. So I just put that on there just to you know, kind of emulate that. But yeah, so there we go, and I've done the engines as well. Now what I'm going to do next, before I give this another coat of varnish, is I'm trying to get this under the camera. Where the numbers are on the wings, the roof markings on the Met cars, they have an orange dot. I can't remember if it's before or after the number now. I'll have to look at the picture. But they have an orange dot. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask that off and paint an orange dot by the numbers on the top and bottom of the wings. Right, so I'm going to try and cut some masks to spray these holes. And what I've got here, this is a gasket punch. Unfortunately, as you can see from the rust on it, it's a nasty cheap one that has virtually no edge on it at all. But I'm going to see if I can get it to cut. I just tried it and it doesn't seem too bad, but what I'm going to do is just push it in and twist it and hope that it will actually cut this masking tape, because I don't really want to hit it with a hammer, which is what you would normally do, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, let's see if we can lift that up. Not sure it's all the way through there. Let's just give that a little cut just to... Ah, there we go. Right, that's one. So I'll do another one, and then I'll just cut these out, and then I can put them on and mask the rest of it. Alright, let's see if we can get this in place. Where are my glasses? Oh, this is really awkward to do in front of the camera. Alright, is that straight? That looks pretty straight to me. I don't really want to stick this onto the decals if I can avoid it, because I don't want it to lift them up, because they're not sealed yet. So and if it does, I shall be vexed. Okay, now to actually paint this, let's move it out of the way for a second. I've got this is another one of these high coat paints, so it's a fairly bright orange, and this is Rover Vermilion, and Rover did have some very strange colours for their cars, trust me. I used to have a SD1, the V8, and I had one that was a really awful metallic gold. They did a really nice metallic blue actually, but anyway, that's beside the point. I'm going to use this. Right, so there it is. It's not a perfect circle, but it's come out alright. So I'll let that dry, and then we can seal everything with some more gloss varnish and then start thinking about weathering. Right, now this varnish is dry, I'm going to just go over a few of these details with the some panel line. I'm not going to do the whole thing because that would be silly, but I'm just going to do a few little details and then clean them up afterwards. So things like these little vents and things. Some of these like rivet details and stuff, but I'm not going to do all the panel lines because it's it would just be too much against this white. And again, most of this, when it's done, most of this I'll clean off. Okay, so this has all had a chance to dry up now, so I'm going to use this Enamel Thinners to clean it up. And the main reason I use this Enamel Thinners is basically because it's a handy little bottle. But I'm actually, in this case, I'm going to put some in this little pot because there's quite a lot of panel liner on this, and it's likely this thinner is going to get pretty disgusting, so I'll just put a little bit in this pot. And it's very simple, just take a brush, this is just an old filbert, and just wet it with the thinner, get most of it off, and then just basically wipe it like that until you get it how you want it. And what I'm also going to do is use this to kind of streak it as well, so just to give it a little bit of a grubby look. And you can put on or take off as much as you want, so it's really up to you how dirty you want it to look. And you can use you know, like different brushes and things like that. It's like I've got this this is a fan brush. These are quite useful for this, so it's the same thing again, just get the thinner on it and just run it across like that, and you can see it quite nicely streaks it. So but say you can put on and take off as much as you want, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to take quite a lot of this off, but and also if you want you could use cotton buds or anything you like just to get rid of it. So I will go over this and we'll have a look at it when it's done. Right, this isn't looking too bad. I don't know whether you can see that, but you can see it's not. The interesting thing with this is when I looked at the like the reference pictures, they always seem to be absolutely filthy, these A10s, and I don't know, but I get the impression that a lot of the dirt on, because a lot of it's on the underside and down the sides of the fuselage, and it seems to me that a lot of it is probably the smoke from the gun. But I don't, like staining it, but I don't know. But the thing is, I don't want this to be that dirty, because the one thing you will notice with police vehicles is they do tend to keep them in pretty good shape. They do get washed quite frequently and things like that. So I don't want this too grubby. I want it just, just a little bit grimy. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit this with a coat or two of matte varnish, just to knock the shine off it. I don't want it completely matte, I just want to knock the shine off it. And then we can look at the final assembly. So let's do that. So for a matte finish, I'm going to use this XF86 flat clear. I've got all kinds of different flat varnishes, and I'm kind of trying different ones to see which one I like the best. So I'm going to use this one. I think what I might do actually at some point is do a whole video on different varnishes and see which one I like the most. But this is what we're going to use now. Right, there we go. That's the painting pretty much done now, and that looks pretty good. Like I said, I didn't want it completely matte. I just wanted to knock the shine off it, and that's come out quite well. So what I need to do now is unmask a couple of bits, fit the canopy, and fit the steps and the weapons, and we can wrap this up. So let's make a start on that. Right, let's get this step on. Let me just make sure it actually fits still. Now it's had all that paint on it, which it does, so that's good. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on with a little drop of this Revel contactor, because what I don't want to do is risk knocking the burning any of the paint off with the solvent. So let's just drop that in there. Like that. And now no doubt I will knock that off repeatedly before we're finished, but let's hope not. And before I go any further, I want to unmask the HUD, because I don't want to forget to do that and then not be able to get to it afterwards. That looks quite nice, I like that. Cool. Now the canopy, that's next. Right, let's put this canopy on. Now we've got to put this bit on. So that goes in there like that. And we'll let this set up for a minute before I try and actually put it on. So we'll just leave that for a sec and come back to it. Right, Canopy Part 2. This is going to be fun. Oh, where are my glasses? Because in the instructions it said to put this on before you, like while you're putting the fuselage halves together, but obviously I didn't do that, and so what I've got to do now is try and get this in place like this without snapping anything off, which is going to be fun. Oh, like that, I think. Let's check the other side. Right, that has gone in, that's good. And so now that should, go like that. Right, that doesn't seem to want to close very well, but that's okay. I intended having it open anyway, so that's alright. So what I want to do now is I'm going to leave all this to dry completely before I start unmasking anything, because I really don't want this to come apart. So let's give that a few minutes to set up, and then we can put the weapons on, and I think we'll be done. So the canopy is on, as you can see. It's slightly annoying because it actually doesn't shut properly. It goes to there and then stops, and I don't want to force it because I don't want to break it. It's not the end of the world because I was planning on having it open anyway, so that's fine. Just like that. So, and that looks okay. So the next thing I need to do is put the navigation lights on the wing tips. I'll try and see if I can get this under the camera. So I've already painted them, and I think I might have made a slight boo-boo with these, but it doesn't matter because I always thought navigation lights were green and red, but according to the instructions, the one I've done green should have been blue, but whatever. It is what it is. So, but what I need to do is unmask the light, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of silver on there to give us a little like reflector type background for the light. So we'll do that next. Right, let's get this bit of masking tape off. And I just want to put the tiniest little bit of silver paint on there just to, like I say, act like a little reflector. Right, where are my glasses? I'm definitely going to need them for this. Just like that. We'll give that a second to dry, and then we'll put the lens on. Right, let's see if we can get this to stick. This is going to be good for a laugh. Oh, I need my glasses again. Right, you go there like that. And stay. Right, nobody breathe. Let's do the other one. So, the last step really is to fit all of these weapons. So, I think I'll start from the middle and work my way outwards. Just test everything and make sure it all fits. Right, that goes on, so that's alright, we can put that on. Oh, I can't get it off again now. There we go. Right, I'm going to use the Revel contactor again for this, and just run some along the top of each pylon. Let's make sure that's straight. Of course, the thing I've realised now, putting these bombs on, it's going to make it quite difficult to get at that switch, but it's okay, we'll manage. It certainly will hide it, I'll give it that. Right, what's next? Let's make sure I get these on in the right order. Right, so we want this one to go here. That goes on there. That's going to be quite a tight fit. I might need to just clean that hole out a little bit. That, and then next we have the Maverick Pylon. Now what you've got to be careful of with this is there's a little tag on the back here that goes into that groove, so I need to make sure that that actually fits properly before I glue it all together. Yeah, so that doesn't really want to go in there. Alright, let's clean that up a bit. Right, that will go on. Now you might be saying, well, you know, where was all these weapons when I was building this? I'm actually going to do a separate video for the building of the weapons. That will be coming up next, because it was quite a long process just doing all the weapons, so I did those as a separate video, so that will be coming up in the future. Right, that goes like that, and then lastly we have our GBU 20, and that goes on here. Right, that goes on there. Oh, if I could get it on. That's it. Like that. Right, I'll put the rest of these on the other side, and then I think we can wrap this up. And here is our finished article. After much wailing and gnashing of teeth, I'm actually very pleased with how this has come out. It's been a more tricky build than I thought it was going to be honest. Painting something white is always difficult, but I think this was mainly exacerbated by the sheer size of the kit. But yeah, it's come out all right. We had a few little minor hiccups along the way, but generally it's turned out very well. So there'll be a couple of follow-up videos to this. There'll be one on the building and painting of the weapons, and then one for the pilot and the crew chief, who you can see standing by the boarding ladder, which I thought was just something to give it a little bit more of a human element. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you do fancy supporting me on Patreon, that would be much appreciated, or if nothing else, just come along to Facebook and join us in the staff canteen. There's a link in the video description. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this build, and I hope you'll join me for many future builds. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.